Yeah, so that was really just the beginning of it, and there was really no, scientific studies that were done to prove that it was completely safe for pregnant moms. And currently, there is no federal or state regulation on how to calibrate your ultrasound machine. There's usually not a waiver that needs to be signed beforehand. So I'm not saying that there aren't some times where it's necessary to have an ultrasound. Absolutely, like if there is a high-risk pregnancy and there's reason behind it, then yes. But I just believe that it's done too loosely, in my opinion. And there's a lot of moms that just want an ultrasound, once a month to just see the baby, and there's really not a good reason for it, or to find out the gender if that's the reason. There are less invasive things you can do for that as well. One of them to figure out gender is called Sneak Peek. That's what we used for both of our babies, and it's actually an at-home blood test. It's more accurate, less invasive than an ultrasound, because it actually tests the blood and checks for the Y chromosome to see if it's a boy, and if there's not one, then it's a girl. So it's pretty accurate, and now you can actually find out as soon as 6 weeks, which is so early and awesome that that's available to us. So that's a much better way if you're wanting to just see the gender. Just so you guys are aware of what we chose to do, me and my husband, researched it a lot and talked about it, and we decided that we wanted to do the 20-week anatomy scan. It's a personal choice. We just wanted to have a little bit more peace of mind, but it was not absolutely necessary either. We were doing a home birth. Our midwife really wanted to just have that done to make sure that, heart and brain and everything was developing appropriately. So that was the only one we did. And yeah, it did bring a little bit of peace of mind, so it was good for us. But again, not completely necessary. I have a lot of friends that didn't get any ultrasounds through their pregnancy, and it was fine. So just being aware that I think it's just done too loosely and too much, and that there really isn't any studies showing that it's safe. So just being aware of that. So for second trimester, this is, I think personally, the best trimester. This is like where the nausea, starts to fade away, and you get a little bit more of your energy back. It's a little bit more fun. This is when you start to show, so people aren't like questioning if you're pregnant. It's pretty obvious, halfway through the second trimester. I remember with the nausea, I was kind of expecting it to go away, like right when I hit, 13, 14 weeks. And it took a little bit longer for me. I think it was like 16 or 17 with both of my pregnancies. So it can be a little bit longer. And there are some women that have nausea their entire pregnancy, which is horrible. But, it's just part of it, like I was talking before. But a lot of women, this is where they start to feel better. You start to get your energy back. You can start to work out more, and just move and feel more like yourself again. Tip for this trimester is to go on your baby moon, especially if this is your first baby, but with every baby. You and your husband going away somewhere, just spend time with you guys together, because if you wait too long, third trimester can get a little bit uncomfortable and just less comfortable to travel or go anywhere. So you start to nest and just want to stay home. So second trimester is the time for the baby moon. This is when you can feel the baby kick for the first time, which is incredible. That is my favorite part of being pregnant, is just feeling the baby move. It's unlike anything else. It's kind of hard to put into words, but once you feel it, all you mamas out there that have felt it know, you just have more of a connection with your baby. And it's cool too when your spouse gets to feel that for the first time as well. And it usually takes a little bit longer for them to feel it. But yeah, this is the best trimester for sure. And then moving into your third trimester, typically this is where a little bit more anxiety starts to come up. You start to prepare. You start to just be a little bit more ready to meet the baby, really ready to meet the baby at that point, and just not be pregnant anymore. You start to not be able to move as well. Maybe you're starting to kind of waddle a little bit, not walk the same, you're out of breath, you have to pee all the time, baby's just pushing on every organ. Swelling at this stage can be pretty common for women, like especially in their ankles because of the water retention and the blood volume. Heartburn also too, because your stomach is just being pushed up. All of your organs are just being pushed on. So it's harder for digestion. So we'll talk about things you can do for like nutrition and stuff, but smaller meals is super important at this point just because your stomach can't really fit a lot. Chiropractic adjustments can help with the heartburn as well. And then baking soda and water are like good options. And then at this point too, you're getting closer typically to your due date. So I want to talk about due dates for a second because I really do think that there are a lot of expectation and attachments when it comes to due dates that are causing a lot of unnecessary stress for mama and for daddy too. So not a lot of moms deliver on their due date. There's actually a fact that only 5% of moms actually deliver on their due date. And the average is for all moms is 41 and 1. So most women are actually going over their due date. And unfortunately, in America, in our culture, a due date is almost looked at as like an expiration date. So if you're getting close to your due date, a lot of doctors want to like induce, which doesn't make sense because it is just a guess. A due date is a guess, even if you know exactly when conception happened and you're, counting the days, it is still a guess. And again, I'm going to anchor back to my point of trusting your body, trusting God and baby of when that perfect time is for baby to come. I had to learn that the hard way actually, and so I totally understand that anxiety. My first baby was early, which is rare. Usually your first is a little bit later, as what they say at least. So I was 2 days early, and then with my second, I in my head expected to be early as well. And I ended up being a week late, and that was the longest week of my life. But looking back, it shouldn't have been. I should have just trusted the process and trusted that my little girl just needed a little bit more time, and I could have potentially been off a little bit with the due date because it is a guess. And so I really just stress that because when you do focus so much on delivering on this date or before this date, it just causes unnecessary stress, and that can actually make you be pregnant for longer and not go into labor if you're kind of holding on to that stress. So I warn about that. So it really should be more of like a birth window of time where, a healthy baby can be born. So really anywhere between 37 weeks and 42, 43 weeks even, that can be a full-term healthy baby. So with that, don't stress out too much, mamas, about your due date because baby is going to come, and just trust the process and trust your body. All right, so we're going to go into nutrition. This is one of my favorite parts to talk about. This plays such a huge role in the development of baby and the mom's health throughout pregnancy. Like I mentioned before, baby is like a parasite, and it's going to take all the nutrients that it needs in order to develop. And for some of you moms, that means it's going to take nutrients from your bones and your tissues because you're not getting proper nutrition through your diet. So, and that can be really detrimental for mom, like long term, even like way after she delivers baby. So people give themselves, I think it could go one way or the other. Some women kind of give themselves an excuse to eat too much and too much of whatever they want. In America especially, you hear that like, oh, I'm eating for two, so I'm allowed to eat whatever I want. When we should really switch that mindset to what are the foods that I can put into my body to best nourish my body and my baby through this time, so that I can get all of the nutrients that my baby needs and that I need in order to thrive. that type of mindset is much better than just kind of allowing yourself or giving yourself that excuse to eat whatever you want, because nutrition absolutely matters. We do have to consume more calories when we are pregnant, but not a ton more. So obviously listening to your body is huge, and you know, if you're hungry, eat healthy foods. But if you're getting enough protein, that's a huge one. That is the most satiating nutrient, and you shouldn't, you know, feel hungry. It should satisfy you. So really important nutrients that mamas should be getting through their diet mostly is iron, folate, iodine, zinc, fiber. Those are some really important ones. You want as much nutrients as you can get through your food. So healthy fats are super important. Avocados, coconut oil, wild caught fish, which some people might perk up hearing fish because we've always been told like don't eat fish when you're pregnant, but consider your source, right? If you are eating farm raised salmon, then I would say, yeah, do not do that during pregnancy. But if you're, you know, getting wild caught salmon, that's actually very good for you and a very good source of fat. So yeah, consider your sources and where those protein options are coming from. So same thing with all of your meat. They should be organic, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised eggs, free-range chicken, all of those things. So good for us and a great way to get protein. Fermented foods are really good during pregnancy. That might be a reason why a lot of pregnant moms crave pickles, because they're fermented and they're actually really good for like your gut and your digestion. So if you are wanting those, that's a great thing. Kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, apple cider vinegar, those are all good things. Bone broth is a really great option for pregnant mamas, super nourishing to the body. Again, when it comes to protein and animal sources, so again, like good sourced, organic, raw, dairy, milk, cheese, all of those are wonderful. Organic, you know, always organic when you can. You want to avoid pesticides with, you know, our fruits and veggies. And then just trying to eat the rainbow as far as like color, right? As much colorful fruits and veggies as you can eat. I know I just craved fruit when I was pregnant, and berries and just, you know, all the different types of fruit is so good for you, and your body really does need more of that. And then this might sound like common sense to some people, but just making sure that you're getting enough water and that you're hydrating yourself. You do need to drink more water when you're pregnant, and if you weren't doing that before, it can be kind of a harder thing to remember to do. But water, and then also like replenishing yourself with electrolytes as well. You need, if you're just drinking water, you're kind of flushing your system out. You need to incorporate electrolytes as well to bring the hydration and the water into your cells so that you're fully hydrated. So when I say electrolytes, I mean good, healthy electrolytes. There's a lot of, you can actually make your own electrolyte drinks, but I like to do, I have a sample here, Element, LMNT. This is like my favorite one. It's grapefruit. This is a really good brand. Ultima is a really good brand, super clean, and gives you all the electrolytes that you need. So those are my two favorite ones. Do not drink Gatorade. Do not drink Powerade. Really look at ingredients when it comes to, especially when you're pregnant. There are so many ingredients in those drinks. People think that they are hydrating themselves when they're actually poisoning themselves. There is, you know, red and yellow dyes in there, and really toxic ingredients that are just horrible for you and for your baby especially. So if you're drinking a lot of those sugary drinks or soda, those are things that you need to like completely quit cold turkey. Because there's a lot of other great drinks like these Elements. They taste amazing, and still kind of give you that same satisfaction, but you are not putting garbage in your body. So that's super important. And yeah, so get rid of soda. My main thing with nutrition, I could go on and on about this topic and I won't, but eat more God-made food and less processed food. So the less, if you can get out most of the processed food that you're consuming, you are going to be so much healthier and so much happier for that, and your baby is going to be as well. So let that be a motivation for you to eat better, is to just nourish your baby. What foods can I put in my body to nourish my baby and my body? Yeah, so less processed foods, less chemicals, additives, especially now at this time when you're pregnant, it's very, very vital. So I'm going to go over a couple of supplements that I suggest to take, because number one, we should get our vitamins and nutrients and all the things through our food, but our soil is depleted now, so it is very difficult to do that even if you are eating like 100% organic food. So prenatal dailies, these are awesome. They come in a little pack, so it's super easy. Pregnancy brain is a real thing, and I don't think it goes away. You just turn it into mom brain. But these just make it so easy to remember to take, because it literally just comes in a pack. So what I love about this is it's a regular prenatal multivitamin. These are all like whole food sourced vitamins, but it also comes with osteo support as well, which, like I was saying before, we can, nutrients can be stripped from our bones to go to our baby, so we need that extra support for our bones. And then it has an omega in here as well, which is so important to have a good omega-3 while you're pregnant, to help with everything. So this is a good option. I'll link it down below as well. And then also I recommend like a beef liver. So a lot of the meat that we consume is like muscle meat, and we're not consuming like nose to tail like we used to, hundreds of years ago. And so taking a beef liver supplement is amazing for you and really important, especially during pregnancy. So this is something I also recommend for my moms too. And then I don't have it to show you, but I'll link it below, is the bone broth protein, because you can put that in, just mix it with like milk or water, or put it in a smoothie. And it can be, again, a really good way to like start the day to get that protein in right away, if you're having issues with other types of protein sources. So we're going to move on to, there's the Daily Essentials pack. And then here's our, we're going to talk about exercise for a little bit. So exercise is super, super important, just like nutrition, during pregnancy. We need to continue to move our bodies. There is a lot of misconception when it comes to exercise and when you get pregnant. So lots of misconceptions here. A lot of women think that if they've like never worked out before, that they like need to start working out when they're pregnant, or if they work out, they need to stop working out once they get pregnant. It's like one or the other. And that's just not the case. We need to continue to move and work out our bodies. And obviously some of these activities may change, but research tells us that if you are doing a regular workout routine before you get pregnant, you can continue to do that workout routine when you are pregnant. So for instance, with Grayson, I was doing CrossFit before I was pregnant. So I continued to do CrossFit during pregnancy, and I was completely fine. Obviously, I had to change like some movements that I was doing. So use common sense here. Like I couldn't do a regular burpee and like slam my belly on the ground, right? So you just modify things, or like using a barbell, certain things like that had to change because my belly was in the way. So be mindful of having to change things like that. But if you're running a lot before you're pregnant, chances are you can continue to run during pregnancy as long as everything like is feeling okay, and you'll be able to continue to do that high impact. When I was pregnant, I was kind of running before, but not consistently enough, so I just decided not to during pregnancy, and then I just changed a lot of like my high intensity, high impact movements, like box jumps. I would just change it to box step ups instead, which is a wonderful workout. And the goal, like your goals during pregnancy should change when it comes to exercise as well. Like your goal isn't to, you know, lose a bunch of weight during pregnancy, obviously, you know, and get in like, you know, ripped shape. Your goal is going to be more, okay, I need to prepare myself for labor, because labor is like, you know, it's like a marathon and it is very physically demanding, and you want to be prepared for that. So the best thing to do is actually to get in shape a little bit before you are pregnant. But there are things that, and then like maintain that through your pregnancy. So for those mamas that are watching that aren't pregnant yet and you want to prepare your body, workout, like start to get into a regular workout routine now. And then, you know, so yeah, it's changing the workouts that you do. And then obviously, you know, using common sense when it comes to doing those. There's a really good book. I don't have it with me. I will link it below, called Exercise Through Pregnancy. I definitely recommend this. It just talks about like different types of exercises that are really great to do. You obviously want to do a lot of lower body exercises to help with labor and support like your pelvic floor and all of those things. So like things like step ups, stair climbing, and squats. Those are incredible for pregnancy and for lower body strength, and super important for moms. This book said something like 300 squats a day would not be too many. It would be initially if you were starting there, so don't start at 300. But squats are like a wonderful exercise for pregnant mamas to do to strengthen their body. We have a birth fit instructor in the office, but birth fit is a great option as well, so I can also put a link for that below too to look into. But that is a great way to stay in shape during pregnancy, and then for postpartum exercise as well, which we will talk about in the next part, which is actually coming up. So next video, I'm going to talk all about birth and the different options of birth and labor, and what those look like, pros and cons of all of those. And then we're going to talk about the 4th trimester, which is the postpartum period, so like 40 days or so after birth, and how to prepare for that and what that looks like, and how to take care of yourself and your baby and your family during that time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next one.